Greetings YouTube, LMS Tactical here. I'm gonna have to do this while I'm on the move. It's just been a busy day, and I'm coming back from my father's. I had to take my dad shopping and do some other stuff for him and with him. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in South Africa, and to the South African people who follow me, this may bore you because you're living it, and it's not like you have to hear this from me, a guy in America. But we've gotten some new subscribers, and it's time that we readdress something that is not new. It's been going on for a long time. And for anybody new to the channel, by all means, if you're not aware of certain things that are taking place in South Africa, like farm murders, land grabs, where they're basically stealing the land right out from under, it's all race-based, and it's basically the minorities in South Africa are the white people who've been there for hundreds of years. And I don't want to get into that in this video. What I want to talk about is some of the carnage and I'm going to talk about a recent event that a video came to me, and I'm going to be honest with you. You guys know I've been a law enforcement guy my whole adult life, and I've seen just about everything that a human being can do to another human being. It's pretty tragic. That being said, what the hell street am I looking for? That being said, this video was, maybe I'm getting too old or soft, but it was super hard for me to watch, and I ended up getting rid of it. I couldn't really finish it. But the background story is, and then I'm going to finish it with the most important message of this video. The background of it is, and if I get it wrong, some of you South Africans that are there, please correct me. But you had a white couple, close my back window. You had a white couple, a man and a woman, who I think were accused of stealing a cell phone or a couple of cell phones or whatever. And so a black mob kind of formed, and the outcome of this whole thing was them being beaten like you wouldn't believe with baseball bats. This defenseless man and lady, whether or not they committed a crime or not. And look, if they committed the crime, I mean, obviously people of all races commit crimes, but can you imagine what would be on certainly on every American channel, but on worldwide, with this bullshit divisive narrative going on about how evil white people are? Can you imagine the news coverage if the colors had been reversed and you had a group of white people beating a black couple to death with baseball bats? But more egregious than just getting beaten to death with baseball bats while people film and stand around with their cell phones and watch this show. A South African police force unit was there and saw what was happening. In fact, the guy was trying to get back up and like, hey, help me, I'm still alive. And these two cops, if you really want to call them that, they got back into their unit and drove away and let this continue until this man and lady, were beaten to death. The savagery of that, if that doesn't hit you, just how egregious that is, just the inhumanity of it. That's one thing. But the real message here is that it is by far, it's not an isolated incident. This is what's going on every hour and every day in South Africa. And at least this time, I mean, I'm being a little bit facetious here, you could say, well, they committed a crime, which that alone is not, that doesn't legitimize getting beaten and getting murdered. But there's so many components to this. It goes on every day. Nobody hears about it. If you're not in South Africa, you probably haven't heard about this, because most people just don't give a shit about what goes on in the rest of the world. And, to some degree, I get it nowadays because we're all going through our own hell. I mean, my country in the U.S. here has fallen apart due to communism and Marxism, if there's, a little difference. But Europe is losing the battle. Canada is being literally taken over by the Chinese, just like South Africa is, for that matter. So you got all these different things going on in the world, and I'm not saying that, we all need to completely stop what we're doing, but we need to recognize and we need to acknowledge that this type of savagery exists And it's not uncommon. That's the thing. I mean, honest to God, if I was in the room, in a room with a baseball bat and Adolf Hitler sitting there, or Osama bin Laden, I know this might surprise some people, I couldn't beat him to death. It's not in me to do that. You know, when I take somebody's life, they are in the process of trying to harm or kill me or other innocent people. But I couldn't just beat the living fuck out of somebody until they died, and I couldn't stand there and videotape it and watch it like I was watching a chicken fight. But this is the life. This is what white, predominantly Christian South Africans have to endure. And can you imagine living in a country where you're the minority, you're getting savagely beaten, burned alive? I've got videos of people getting macheted to death. Just the inhumanity is, the graphic nature of these crimes is not just to kill, it's to really make it a painful death and to send a message. And it's getting worse and worse. And can you just imagine what it must be like if picture yourself living there and you've got kids, you've got a wife or a husband, you've got dogs, you've got a family, you've got hopes and dreams and aspirations, and you know that this shit's going on all around you, and there's nothing you can do about it because you're not allowed to carry a firearm over there. Yet the bad guys seem to have no problem getting them, just like everywhere else where firearms are outlawed. There's just no real way to defend yourself over there, and nowhere to go. So regardless of how you feel about, why white people are in Africa, and that's a subject that's been covered by a lot of more articulate people than me, and I've done videos on it in the past, there is no justifying this. If you're somebody that's running around crying because the Israelis fired back at people that fired at them first, and you're sick and screaming of the carnage that's going on in your mind to the innocent Palestinian people, how could you not give a fuck about the families in South Africa who have people crawling in the middle of the night and literally drill holes in their kneecaps with power tools? That's not something I'm making up. This happens all the time. And gouge their eyes out and killing them. This goes on all the time. And the scariest part is it's basically government sanctioned, if you want to call their government a government. It's almost like calling Biden our president. It's not legitimate. It's not real. These are backwards thinking. I got to watch what I say because I'm on YouTube. But for those of you that are not aware of what's going on in South Africa, please take a moment and do some research and look into it. Just do Google or YouTube search for farm murders, farm attacks, just crime in South Africa. And if you're planning a trip to South Africa, you better think twice. And then when you're done looking at that, take a look at what's going on in Canada. I've got friends of mine who are in Canada who came from South Africa and were super excited to be coming to a first world country from the shithole that South Africa has turned into. Once beautiful country when other people were in charge. A once first world country that had everything and was beautiful and safe, and now it's a fucking nightmare. Just like every country that communism infiltrates and takes over. But here, these people are now in Canada, and they are literally not exaggerating when they're finding out that it's worse there in many respects than it is in South Africa, and at the very least, it's the same. Police response is the same. Police ineptness and just absolute stupidity is the same. I'm sorry for my Canadian cops that may hear this. Look, I always had nothing but respect for the RCMP, but I'm hearing firsthand some of the shit that goes on there and some of the absolute refusal to take interest in things that are important and that are absolute crimes, and the refusal to do their job, yet the energy that they put out when they're enforcing these fucking illegal mask mandates and this fucking don't come out of your house, you stepped out into your yard, now you're under arrest. I mean, you can't make this shit up, man. And unfortunately, I'm not making it up. You've got Chinese troops that are training in Canada right this second. Now, Canada is an ally of the United States and a member of NATO, and you got really our potentially biggest enemy. And the Canadians are pretty much teaching them how to fucking kill, how to be better at killing. And do you think the Chinese fucking government or military has any good thoughts about any Western militaries, specifically the United States? You know, this Justin Trudeau, man, this guy is, I honestly don't know who the fuck's worse, man. Between him, Obama, fucking Biden, Camel Toe, all these people are cut from the same cloth, man. They're not fucking leaders. They're criminals that sell out. Trudeau's getting rich like a motherfucker by selling all the gold and everything he can. He is so tied into China that he probably eats with chopsticks now. I mean, he is the fucking worst thing that's ever happened to the Canadians. And, you know, I don't know how that's going to end. I don't understand the Canadian system enough to know how the fuck they're going to get out from under that, but it's not looking good. I mean, for you South Africans that aren't aware, we literally a couple of weeks ago, and maybe even now, it's been confirmed, and I've seen the videos of it, there's Canadians on the border with the United States holding up SOS signs and asking us to help them get the fuck out. You know, they're basically prisoners, man. And they're protesting and they're starting to rise up. But why should it have to come to this? You know, so the world is upside down right now because of one thing and one thing only, and that's this communist fucking ideology that is hell-bent on destroying anything good and meaningful and traditional. And they need certain tools to use to in the furtherance of their mission, and one of the best tools is to have scapegoats. With Hitler it was the Jews, with today's modern communists it's the Christian male straight white men. That is the enemy of the world in their minds, and you know that's what they push out to the young people. And you know, this whole COVID-19 thing, it proved very, very sadly, but it proved how quickly they being these governments, these corrupt, fucked up governments, could put a message out onto a TV and within a very short amount of time have everybody doing what they're told. My God, we'll stay inside, we'll put a mask on. When all of us know that if you can blow cigarette smoke through a mask, you ain't stopping no fucking virus. They've killed so many businesses. This is all about seeing just how far they can push us and get away with it. And you know what? Their mission is a success. Because there's no shortage of sheep in this fucking, in the West right now. But back to South Africa, it's terrible what happened. It's not an isolated incident. It goes on every day. And please, you know, just for the sake of humanity, look into it and educate yourself and let other people know what's going on, because knowledge is power and it's time people know what the fuck's going on. For you South Africans, stay safe. I've got some other ideas I want to run by you in my next video in terms of self-defense, some ideas that I've come up with that probably have been come up with by other people, but I'm going to put them out there just in case, because I might inspire somebody to be able to protect themselves, because you guys are in a shithole right now and you're in danger. But never forget that my prayers are with you, and until next time, you guys stay safe. LMS Tactical, I'm out.